I can sit in a room with somebody for 15 minutes and know if I've got a winner or not. And 99% of the time, I'm right. So I listen to the gut. I know it's going to work or it isn't. I just know. I'm that good. But he was right. The only way to get to where I am today is having spent 30 years doing it. It's the only way you can do it. Yeah. You can't buy it. And so I really, really believe that about in entrepreneurs and investing in them and supporting them. You need the experience that the road traveled gives you. That turns into intuition, and that becomes a very powerful tool.
Yeah, if you're going, and this is because I get questions like this all the time from newer entrepreneurs. It's like, either they're in a partnership, and this is how most people partner. Hey, we like each other, and we kind of like the subject, let's get into business together. Terrible reason to get into business together. Yeah. But like Y Combinator, we were talking about this offline 2 seconds ago. Y Combinator has shown that 3 founders is actually like the sweet spot. Like 3 to 4-ish actually works the best for building huge companies. Now, that's huge companies. Not everybody's trying to build a huge company. Right. And the founders that they have very specific roles and functions. So you've got the guy who's the head of coding, and then you've got the promoter who's head of sales and marketing. And then you have the operator, typically, which would be kind of the third leg of the stool, which is kind of the minimum 3 roles that exist. And so if you are going to partner with people, they have to have a clear role or responsibility that is different than yours.
Complementary skills.
100%. Yeah. So complementing skills, aligned values. And if you are partnering, the splits don't need to be even. And that's often a common thing, which is like, okay, there's 3 of us, therefore we should have thirds. That isn't necessarily true. Like some people might be bringing a bigger network or some, other things to the table that tip the scales. And that's, that's part of business. But all that to say, I'm not against partnerships. I, at that time, did not understand how to partner, and therefore was only able to successfully have business when it was just me.
I go back when I had none, and back to when I was getting married. I couldn't afford a reception or a dinner for anybody. We had no money, nothing. And so, and I know, for certainty that this woman I've been with now for over 30 years knew she was buying into the hope and a promise that we'd figure this thing out, because we wanted to have some kids and they're expensive. But we had no money. And what I learned at that time in terms of how it forms a person, the fear of failure, in my view, in the pursuit of any entrepreneur's path, is perhaps the most important motivator they've got. Because they start their journey saying, I'm going to quit the security of a salary. And I always tell my entrepreneurs, a salary is the drug they give you when they want you to forget about your dreams. Because it's very easy to stay in that world where somebody is mitigating your risk. You just have to perform certain tasks, do them well for a third of your day, and they will feed you a salary. And you don't have to think about anything else. And that, for a lot of people, works. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's very noble. Great employees are extremely valuable to build enterprises. But when you leave that path and you put at risk income that you need to eat with, you're going on a different journey. And that fear of failure is an extremely motivating factor. You ask any entrepreneur about the journey, and they're going to tell you the dark moments when they faced the abyss and they didn't know what was going to happen. And I think that gives a tremendous amount of emotional fiber to a person. And I think it manifests itself in a certain amount of confidence over time.
There's way more bad that happens after that. But the thing is I'm telling this, and it's all this happened in like a 9-month period. So this was just insane. And so like my mother getting sick, the ending of the partnerships, the new partnership, the money getting taken, my DUI head-on collision. So the head-on collision actually was the next big catalyst for me, because that was yet again, I was faced with my own mortality, and it reprioritized things again. It was like, hey, idiot. Reset. Yeah. And so at that point, I had a partner that I had 2 marketing agencies with, by the way, started that on the side, a chiropractor and a dental agency. I had my 5 gym locations with a different partner. I had now the 1 current location that I had started with the new partner, right? And I had the launch business where we're turning around doing launches. And I'm 26.
Yeah. I'm imagining, those plate spinners. Yeah. You've got at least 9 plates going.
But money can corrupt people if that's all they care about. I don't need more money, I need more time, and that's why I really care about how I spend my time. And the whole point is, when you look at your day, and this is how it manifests itself later in life, no matter what that bogey is for you, I don't know what amount people consider, enough. There's a point where you just can't even spend it, so it doesn't, because it's making more for you every day in interest and your other investments. But you start to ask yourself, the real benefit of having it is that you map out next week.
I was drinking a half a bottle of Johnny Walker Black every night to function, not to get drunk, to feel back to not being stressed. That was the only thing. Yeah. And like some people have like I would never have called myself an alcoholic, because it was like I still functioned fine. I never was drunk at work or anything like that. Every night I would just drink that to like breathe.
Yeah. That was your escape.
Yeah, it was. It was very much escape, because I wasn't handling the things that I needed to handle. And so I had a coach at that time who was more of just a therapist. And he said, Alex, your stress is literally going to kill you. And so that was right after I had the DUI and the head-on collision. And so he said, you need to change stuff. Like, what are you afraid of? You almost died, so fuck it. Yeah. And so I ended that partnership. I ended the partnership with the agencies. Believe it or not, even after the money was taken, I was still in a partnership with him. Because I was like, maybe he's right. Like, I knew that it was fraudulent when I showed him the financials and highlighted everything and was like, there's no other money that was here, and he didn't want to look at it. And that's when I was like, oh, he doesn't actually think that I took the money. He was making a reason up. So, yeah. So anyways, I got out of all of that stuff. I lost all my money, and then I was back at zero.
The great thing about having a big success is you get access to a lot of interesting entrepreneurs. They all return your call. And so I called up the head of the world's largest telco and said, look, I want to do this deal. Give me a team of engineers. I'll bring a team of entrepreneurs into play. I'll fund it. And I'll give you a third of the equity in it. And what I learned about that experience is when you want to build an entrepreneurial change agent inside a giant company, any giant company, telco in this case, you just can't go ramming through like a bull in a china shop, because you're dealing with committees of 20 people.
Yeah.
And I spent millions of dollars trying to fight the natural tendency of a large company not to do things outside of their comfort zone. And I lost a lot of money doing that. That was a very important lesson. Had I done it where Skunks worked that I'd started myself till I got it operational and then sold it to a telco, that would have been a better outcome. That cost me a lot. It was millions. I lost millions on that. And that was a failure. But what I look for I've had luckily great successes that paid for all those failures. As long as you have more successes than failures, the path kind of works out. And so I paid for it through some other deal that was very successful.
I mean, we were just sitting back, chopping it up, reminiscing about the good old days and all that. Tracking my roots, where I came from.